Hey everyone, today I have the first and last tag for you. I was tagged by Leah and the tag was created by Kimberly from Kimberly's Book Nook. It has 10 questions, always the first and the last, obviously. And I have to say in advance I'm really bad with the first ones and sometimes even with the last ones. So let's see how I can answer these questions. First question, what was the first and last video you posted? The first video I ever posted was a book review of this book because I was so angry at the book at the ending and about everything that it achieved and that it's supposedly so feminist and I just didn't agree. So I wanted to talk about it, but no one, of course, has read it that I knew, so I thought, why not make a video? And that was my first video. The last video I posted was a week in retrospect, which is basically a weekly roundup I posted on Friday. Question 2, the first booktuber I watched and the last booktuber I watched. Well, the first one I don't really remember. When I started filming videos, I didn't know about BookTube. I didn't know that there were people out there posting videos about books. I was watching the Vlogbrothers and Wheezy Waiter and other people who vlogged, and I really liked that, and that gave me the idea that I wanted to try and do this. And yeah, but I couldn't find people making videos about books. I think it took a few months until I realized that there was this huge community and it really enhanced the enjoyment of making videos. The last video I watched was actually Kimberly Book Nook's video about her first and last tag. Question number 3 deals with the first and the last books I bought. I don't remember the first book I bought. I honestly have no idea. This is the last book I bought. Question 4, first and last novels you read by yourself. Well, this is the last novel I finished. And the first one? I don't know. It's been too long ago, sorry. Question 5, first and last dystopian I read. I don't really know about the first dystopian. I remember reading 1984 in school. Well, I started reading it, then we watched the film and I really didn't want to finish the book. In the 80s there were a lot of books dealing with the end of the world due to atomic catastrophes. I read a lot of those, but I don't remember if they were really dystopian or just catastrophic. But this was the last dystopian I read. Question 6, first and last paranormal romance. I don't think Twilight was my first paranormal romance, but I don't remember anything that was before that. I'm pretty sure there was something before that, but I can't really remember it. And the last one is definitely the Infernal Devices series. Question 7 is a hard one. First and last book that made you cry. Now I have to say I'm not a big crier when reading books. I do occasionally cry, like in the Harry Potter series. Who hasn't cried there? But I haven't cried at The Fault in Our Stars, for example. So I don't remember even the last book that made me cry. With the first book, I do remember a book that I remember crying at a lot when I was a child. I read this book dozens of times and it was a book to a mini-series that we had in Germany. It's called Mino, this boy between two frontiers. It's set in, I don't even remember if it's the First or the Second World War, and this little boy running around, and there was a book to that series and I read it and someone dies in there and it's really, really heartbreaking, I guess. I think I was 10 or so. And I remember crying at that scene every time I read the book. But other than that, I can't say. Heartless. Heartless. Question 8 deals with first and last completed series. I don't remember my first entire series. Maybe the Bartholomew trilogy or the Philip Pullman books. Probably something before that. I honestly don't know. The last series I finished was the Infernal Devices again. Question 9. First and last book you couldn't push yourself to finish. So the first book, I think that I really stopped because I thought like, nope, it's not worth continuing reading, was Der Schwarm by Frank Schätzing. I read 500 pages of that book, which was the first part of the book. And I didn't like it. Everyone loved this book. And I was like, why don't I like it? It's awful. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the writing. The story was boring. And yeah. And so I just forced everyone to tell me the end of that. As you probably know, after that I stopped reading quite a few books, often with the intention of picking them up again, sometimes not even wanting to. The last book that's lying around that I haven't read in 4 months is The Making of Henry. But I haven't given up on it yet. Not completely. Oh, I should have thought about this one. Question 10, first and last person I tag. First person I'll tag is this one. Last person I'll tag is this one. Cheating. And I'll tag everyone else who wants to do this, because this is tough.
I've come up with this one and I've decided to call it the BookTuber first and last tag.